Hi students, a very good morning to you. Today we are continuing with the Newton's laws of motions chapter, and last class we have discussed about the various problems. Example, at least we have discussed like 10 questions, 10 different models from free body diagram concept. Today we are going to learn a new concept, and which is called pseudo force. So write on the heading called pseudo force. Pseudo force. This is important. This is also important. There are questions are there for NEET and JEE examination from these sessions. What is called a pseudo force? Before entering to the pseudo force, I would like to introduce something called so far we have learned about different problems, right? Different problems in the sense, for example, we have learned something like this: a block is placed here and a pulley over will be here and connected, and which is hanging. This is one case. And another case is like okay, we have a one body of mass and another body of mass like this, and which is placed on a surface, something like this, a connected body. And the another example, we have one body and which is connected over a string and which is placed over a surface, something like this. These are the three examples I have just taken for your understandability. Okay, so all these three examples, what I can say will be here. Here the block is resting on a table. So here it is a table actually. Okay, this is a table, and here this is our ground surface. Our ground surface. This is also our surface. Okay, so all these models where we have seen, there is one peculiarity in this model. Okay, here we have applied what is called a Newton's law of motions. Which Newton's law? Newton's second law we have applied. What is Newton's second law? Total force will be equal to ma. Sigma fx equal to ma, or sigma fi will be equal to ma. This concept we have applied will be here. Whenever there is no acceleration on a particular directions, we will say that total force will be equal to 0. Whenever there is an accelerations, we will say total force equal to ma. But here the main point will be here, the block which is on the table, the block which is on the table, the block is on the surface, on a ground or on a ground, on a normal ground. So in these cases, the surface or the ground, this is the surface and this is the surface, this is the table, and this table or the surface is not at all moving. The table or the surface is not at all moving, which means the table or the surface which is represented here is called frame of reference. Frame of reference. This table or the surface, whatever, so this frame, this table, this, all these are called frame of reference. Frame of reference. Frame, you know, right? Normally if you have go into a studio and if you have taking one photo, then which will be getting framed. Framed means there is a border. Okay, there is a static thing inside this one. Yeah, inside that our main photo will be there. So here same thing will be there. Wherever our photo is resting, I can say that is resting on a frame. The same way here, wherever our blocks are resting, that is called frame of reference. Here the frame of reference is not moving. The table is not moving, the surface is not moving, only the blocks are moving. Here also the surface is not moving, only the blocks are moving. So the frame is not moving. In that cases, this frame is called, okay, so this frame means what? Frame not moving, frame not moving, frame not moving. So the frame, wherever it is resting, that is called frame. This is a frame, this is a frame, this table is a frame. So the frame is not moving, which means this type of this frame is called inertial frame. Inertia means rest, that is the meaning. Inertial frame. The frame is not moving, that is called inertial frame. Okay, so whenever you read the books and whenever you see some word called inertia means rest. Newton's first law is also called a law of inertia, that is giving a qualitative definition of force, right? My first class. So here this is called inertial frame, which means the frame is not moving, frame is at rest positions. Next, if I am taking the opposite of this one, opposite of this means what? Inertial frame in the opposite, non-inertial frame. What is called non-inertial frame? Non-inertial frame means the frame is moving. This is a surface, the surface itself moving, the table itself moving. Then it is called a non-inertial frame. Okay, Newton's three laws and especially Newton's second law states that, hey, you can apply my law only if your frame of reference are in rest. If your frame of reference are not in rest, you cannot use my second law. So Newton's second law is restricted to the frame of reference is a inertial frame. Hope you got my sentence right. Newton's second law is restricted to the frame of reference is an inertial frame, which means the frame of reference is not moving. Then Newton's second law is applied. What will happen if a frame of reference is moving? Frame of reference is moving means in that cases Newton's second law is not applicable. So in order to solve such kind of a problem, we will introduce one term called pseudo force. Then you can apply Newton's second law. Okay, I'll repeat the sentence again. In an inertial frame, that is a frame of reference, which means the frame is not moving. In such cases, you can use Newton's laws, Newton's second law, total force equal to ma. But what will happen if the frame is a non-inertial frame? Non-inertial frame means frame is not in inertia, not in rest state, it is moving. In that cases also you can apply Newton's laws of motion, but with one condition, you have to consider pseudo force. If you have not considered pseudo force, you cannot use Newton's second law. So to consider Newton's second law for a non-inertial frame, you need an extra badge. What is that badge is called? Pseudo force. Okay, now hope you understand. You have heard from me a word repeatedly called pseudo force, pseudo force, pseudo force. Now definitely you have a doubts like what is this pseudo force? What does it means? This is what we are going to see now. Now I want to point it out. Point it out means what is inertial frame? What is non-inertial frame? Inertial frame means frame is not moving. Non-inertial frame means frame is moving. Okay, so if frame is not moving, of course Newton's law you can directly apply. So wherever we have applied the Newton's law while we are drawing the free body diagram, total force equal to mb, in all the cases we have applied and we find the tension, we find the accelerations, whatever we want we done. But if it is a non-inertial frame, what we will do? Yes, that's what we are going to will be here. Whenever something is moving along with the block, whenever the table is moving along with the block, whenever the surface is moving along with the blocks, what will happen? That's what we are going to see will be here. Okay, fine. So for a non-inertial frame, Newton's laws of motions can be applied with a badge of or with the help of pseudo force. If you have not considered the pseudo force, you cannot apply Newton's laws of motion for a non-inertial frame. Understand the concept. Definition and statements are not important. Okay, but the concept is important. Concept only you will remember wherever you go. You will remember only if you learn the concepts very clearly. Concept is important in physics. Not only in physics, in all the subjects it's like that only. But yeah, I just mentioned that. Okay, now we'll see what is called a non-inertial frame. Let me take an example. Suppose this is a car. Okay, suppose this is a car and the car is moving in this direction. Okay, so inside the car I have a pendulum. Okay, if the car is moving in forward direction, okay, let me take this as my example number 1, because with a problem I can better explain the concept of pseudo force. So if it is car is moving with an acceleration of a like this one, definitely if you know, like if a car is moving with very high speed, something is hanging, it will be going what direction? Forward or backward? Yes, it will be going in the backward direction and it will hang like this one, correct? And this angle is called theta. This is what is happening. Now next I want to find out maybe what is the value of theta, how much angle it will be tilted. This is the question, how much theta value I have to find it out. So for that, here if you look will be here, this is moving. Okay, for example a car is moving, this is a pendulum will be here and car is started to move means this will be pushing back and position, right? It will be there. It will be there in the position and it will be just jerking like this one. So that's all. So it will be in this positions and it will be a rest position. I'm assuming car is moving with some accelerations. And what is the value of theta? How much it will be tilted? This is what is my questions to you. So in order to find this one, first you have to see whether the given question is related with an inertial frame or non-inertial frame. First, if you look, will be here. The pendulum is inside the car. Okay, or the bob is inside the car. So with respect, with respect to the car speed is because of the car speed only this pendulum is moving down. If car is at rest means if I'm looking from here, okay, pendulum is rest. Okay, so there are two ways I can observe. Suppose I am a person, I am standing in the road, I am looking here. If I'm looking here, okay, if I am looking will be here means I am looking all over. So with respect to from here, I am rest will be here. I am not moving. But if I am a passenger inside the car, then what will happen? I am moving along with the frame of reference. This is called this car is called my frame of reference. So you can assume like this one. This car is called my frame of reference. So frame of reference with respect to this, this is what is? This is a non-inertial frame because the car is moving. Within the car only this is hanged. So car is moving. So in that case what will happen means pseudo force is called ma. Nothing. It is similar to your loss of motion second law. Pseudo force is ma. But only one condition is like that. In what direction? Remember the statement, in what direction the non-inertial frame is moving. The non-inertial frame is moving from left to right. So your pseudo force is always acting from right to left, opposite. Opposite, one extra force will be here. And that force called ma. Because of that force only the pendulum is moved back. This force is called pseudo force. This pseudo force. Normally as this is on left side, normally we will write pseudo force. Fs will be equal to minus ma. We will write like this one. What is this minus indicate? Acceleration is opposite to the direction of a non-inertial frame movement. In order to represent this means this negative sign indicate. What is this negative sign indicate? This negative sign indicate pseudo force Fs act opposite to the non-inertial frame, acceleration. Okay, hope you got. Fs is acting, Fs it's a force and which is acting in Fs acts opposite to the non-inertial frame accelerations. Non-inertial frame is moving from left to right. So the pseudo force which is acting towards in the opposite direction. Based on that, this is the first concept we have to derive it from here. Based on that, what we will do, we will draw the free body diagram. So you can note down this, you can pause the video and you can note down this one. So I'll go ahead, I'm going to draw the free body diagram for this pendulum. Okay, so first I will draw this one, then I can clear this one. So now the pendulum is like this position. So this will act as something called a tension forces are acting, and there is a vertical angle. This angle is theta. Okay, so this tension I can split it as two components. So this is also T, and if I'm making this angle, this is also theta. Okay, so this component, this is called what? The component which is nearer to theta is called T cos theta. Other component is called T sin theta. Okay, so this angle is theta. So T cos theta and T sin theta will be there. Okay, so diagram will be there. The side which is very nearer to theta, many times I mentioned, that is called cos theta. Adjacent side is cos theta. Another side is opposite side is called T sin theta. And what is extra will be here? A pseudo force will be here. What is a pseudo force? Ma. And the pendulum is in equilibrium state. Okay, pendulum is moved back and it's in equilibrium state. And what is in the downward? Always one force which is called mg will be there. Okay, now we know the pendulum is in equilibrium state. So given condition, pendulum, or I can say the bob, or I can say bob is in equilibrium. Bob is in equilibrium. If bob is in equilibrium, what can I say? T sin theta is equal to ma, equation number 1, and T cos theta will be equal to mg, equation number 2. Equation number 1 divided by equation number 2 will give tan theta is equal to a by g, and theta value we need to find out tan inverse of a divided by g. This is the answer for the question. Theta, this is the angle in which the pendulum of the bob is going back within a car system, because car is a non-inertial frame of reference. Car is a non-inertial frame of reference. We'll take another example. Hope this is clear to you. What I have done, only I have considered MA in opposite direction because the frame is a non-inertial frame. We'll move to the next question. Okay, so we'll move to the next questions. Next examples we'll take. What is the next example is talking about? Example number 2, second example. What is the second example is talking about? Suppose I have a wedge. This is called a wedge. This structure is called a wedge. Okay, so this structure. Here I have placed one mass is called M. I am assuming the wedge is moving with an acceleration A. So the question is, the wedge is moving with an acceleration, with an accelerations A, with an accelerations A, with an, what is the value of the angle, what is the value of the angle theta such that the block small letter m is in rest position, okay, which means here the block m is placed on a wedge. This is called a wedge. This is a question. So the block is resting on a wedge and the wedge is moving. So this wedge is called a non-inertial frame. I can say this is a non-inertial frame. Non-inertial frame means what will extract in order to apply Newton's law, what will extract pseudo force. Okay, so hope you have cleared the questions. Now we have to draw the free body diagram of M. So this is a surface actually we have, and we have a M will be here. Accelerations A in this direction. So definitely what is will be there called pseudo force, MA. This MA is called pseudo force. And we know this angle is called theta. So what will happen, this angle is also called theta. So MA is splitted into two components. So MA will have an horizontal component, MA will have a perpendicular component. The side which is nearer to theta is called MA cos theta, and the other one is called MA sin theta. And we also know a normal reaction is like this. Okay, and we have something called mg. In the previous lesson, in the previous topic itself, I told the force component along this direction is called mg cos theta, and this one is called mg sin theta. This we have already seen while we are doing the free body diagram. So n equal to n will be in this direction. The block is rest. Question is given, the block is rest. Always remember, this is mg sin theta, this is mg cos theta, and this ma is splitted into ma cos theta and ma sin theta. Now what is the condition is given? Such that the block is m in rest position. Rest position means all the forces are equal. Upward force equal to downward force. So I can say when it is at rest positions, I can say ma cos theta will be equal to mg sin theta. M will get cancelled. Sin theta by cos theta. What I can say? I can say tan theta will be equal to a by g. Theta equal to tan inverse of a by g. Theta equal to tan inverse. Let me write it here. Okay. So tan theta is equal to a by g. So theta will be equal to tan inverse of a divided by g. So this is the answer for this question. So this is the value of theta at which the block is in rest if acceleration is equal to 10. for example 10, then what is the value of g? G will be equal to 10. So 10 by 10 means 1. What is tan inverse 1? 45 degree. So your theta will be equal to 45. Tan inverse 1. Tan 45 is 1. So tan inverse 1 is 45 degree. This is one example of a non-inertial frame. We'll take another example. Okay. So hope it is clear. The second example, non-inertial frame, pseudo force will act in the opposite direction for a non-inertial frame. So we'll see our third examples. Okay. Okay. Our example number 3. Suppose this is a lift. Okay. So this is a lift. And lift is moving with an acceleration of g by 2. Lift is moving with an acceleration of g by 2. And we have a spring is connected here. Spring we will learn very detailedly, something called Hooke's law. And here we have connected. Here we have a 2 kg and we have something called 4 kg. 4 kg. Okay. The question is like what is the reading of the what is the reading of the spring? What is the reading of the spring? Spring in the reading. If the question is like this one, reading means a force, which is called a tension. Tension is acting over here. Now, if you see, normally if this frame will not be there, if the lift is not there, then what you will do? Suppose you are assuming this over box is not there. This over box means it's a lift. Lift is moving. So within the lift only this is placed. If lift is not there, then if you want to find out the tension here. So what you will do? Forward force into reverse mass plus reverse force into forward mass divided by sum of the masses. You will get a tension here. Correct? For tension shortcut formula, forward force into reverse mass plus reverse force into forward mass divided by sum of masses. You will get a tension on this rope. So this is T and this is T. So what total force will be here? 2T. So you have to find out 2T. 2T is the answer for here. But what is the difference happen will be here means one extra things will be here because that is called lift and the lift is moving upward. Now the entire system is in a non-inertial frame. If it is in a non-inertial frame, what will happen? Yes, we are going to see the free body diagram. So spring you can ignore, you can directly draw a string. Okay, now this is like 2 kg and this is like 4 kg. I know 4 kg definitely will move with an accelerations a, and this is 2t because this is t and this is t. Okay, now we will draw the free body diagram of each of this one and we'll find this one. So assume g by 2 is upward. So there is a downward pseudo force will be here. What is a downward pseudo force? Yes, definitely there is a downward pseudo force will be here. Okay, so we'll say first one will draw free body diagram of 2 kilogram. Okay, so 2 kilogram free body diagram. What will happen? 2g, weight mg, tension forces T. One more another force is called, what is called pseudo force, MA. M is 2, A is what? A is the acceleration of the lift. What is that? G by 2, G by 2. Acceleration is G by 2. And here, this is the total force which is acting. But within this one, we are saying it is not in equilibrium. If it is in equilibrium means we can both upward force equal to downward force. But it is not in equilibrium, right? Because of the 4 kg is moving down. So there is an extra additional acceleration is also there. A. Now we will apply the Newton's law because I consider pseudo force. If I consider the badge of pseudo force, I can. If I consider that recognition of pseudo force, I can apply Newton's law. I am assuming T minus 2g minus 2 cancels. So G is equal to MA. MA means what? 2A. Equation number 1. We will simplify this little bit. So T minus 3g is equal to 2A. Equation number 1. We'll go to the second free body diagram. Second one is what? We have a 4 kg mass and which is acting a force of, what are the force? 4g, its weight, then extra moving upward. So pseudo force is downward, 4a. So mass into acceleration. Mass is 4, acceleration is g by 2 because this is the acceleration of lift and it is tension upward. So force is downward. So upward force minus downward force. Okay. Okay, so what is upward force will be here? T minus 4g minus 4 2 cancel, so it become 2g is equal to ma. Ma means 4a because acceleration is downward. We'll simplify this one. So what I'll get? T minus, okay, I'm multiplying throughout with the minus. So what should I get? Minus t, 4g and 2g plus 6g is equal to, multiplied with the minus, so it become for equation number 2. Two things will be there. Now what I am going to do means I am going to add equation number 1 plus equation number 2. Equation number 1, equation number 2, t and t will get cancelled. Minus 3g plus 6g, what will come? 3g is equal to, right hand side what will come? 2a plus 4a, which become 6a. So a will be equal to 3g by 6, which is equal to g by 2. I can say this is 5 meter per second square. So acceleration value I got it, I can substitute here. So from equation number 1 I need to find out the tension. What is the tension? So T minus 3g, 3g means 3 into 10 become 30 is equal to 2a, a means 5, so 2 into 5. So T equal to, this is 10 plus 30 which is equal to 40 Newton. Okay, so but what we need to find out, we have a strings, then only we have pulley and connector line. This is T and this is T. So what is coming will be here. This is called 2T. So 2T is our answer. So 2 into 40 which is equal to 80 Newton. This is our answer. Sorry. Okay, so to 80. This is our answer for spring reading. This is actually the spring reading. This is actually the spring reading. So nothing else, we have not done any magics. If you are very thorough with the free body diagram, if you know all the 10 problems what I have solved with the free body diagram, same thing only I am doing. But what is extra one guy is concerned, this is called pseudo force. This is called pseudo force. Just apply pseudo force, solve it. If it is if the body will have a motion inside the non-inertial frame, then acceleration has to consider. Otherwise what will come will be here, if it is in equilibrium, if it is in rest, what will come will be here 0, which means upward force equal to downward force. That's all. Hope you understood. The 3 examples I have, 3 is a different aspect. One is in lift and another one is in a wedge, and this is another example. So hope this is clear to you, these 3 examples. Okay, fine. Hi dear students, welcome to the next topic from electrostatics, and which is called friction. So far we have learned about different concepts including a free body diagram, how to draw the free body diagram in case of an inertial frame, and in case of a non-inertial frame we have something called pseudo force. Now we are going to apply all these concepts along with a new term which is called friction. So write on the heading, this is the next major topic from laws of motion, and which is called friction. What is called friction? Of course, you know, you have learned these terms from your small school standard onwards, like 8th, 9th and all. You are already learning this one. Okay, so friction means only understand the concept. When there is a relative motions between two bodies, there is this frictional force is exist, or friction is exist. Friction is actually, it's a term which opposes the relative motion between two bodies. What it is indicated? Suppose you can see in my hand I have a duster and I have the marker pen. So what I am going to do, if I am trying to move this pen on top of the duster, or if I am trying to move the duster, below the pen, or if I am trying to move the pen above the duster, both cases, or in another way, if these two are moving each other, so there are different type of motions are there. So this type of motion is called relative motion. A relative motion means motion of pen with respect to this one. Okay, motion of the duster with respect to this one. So whenever there is a relative means a relative to one another. If you have using a word in physics called relative, mean with respect to one another guy. For example, I will say, for example, I have written physics examination. I have 95 marks out of 100. So if somebody will be coming and asking, hey, how much mark you have, then I will say 95. Why I am saying 95? Because I am counting from 0. Suppose my friend will be there, he has 92 marks and I have 95 marks. Then if somebody is coming me and asking, hey, how much mark you scored with respect to your friend? With respect
to my friend, I scored 3 marks extra. I'll say 3 mark extra I have scored with respect to my friend. But if I'm not using the word called with respect to, then I will say I have scored 95 marks. So with respect to another guy means with respect to that person, if how much I have incremented or how much I have decremented, I will specify. So in this case also, the concept is called relative motion. Whenever there is a relative motions between the two bodies, the friction is a force and which opposes the relative motion of the body. So we'll write down the definition of friction. Friction, write down, friction opposes the relative motions between the bodies. Friction opposes the relative motions between the body. So whenever a body is trying to move and frictional force is opposite direction. For example, this is a body which is on the board and half mass is equal to m. If I'm applying some force called F, because of this force, what will happen? The block is trying to move. So an opposite force will act, which is called a frictional force, small letter F. Now we'll go to the definition or equation of frictional force. Equation of frictional force is always mu equal to F equal to small letter F is equal to mu into N. This is important relation. F is equal to mu into L, where mu is called coefficient of friction. Is called coefficient of friction. That's all. So coefficient of friction, this coefficient of friction is depends upon the surface or the roughness or the smoothness of the surface. This value will be getting changes. And N is called what? N is called, you know, right? It is called reaction, or we will say normal reaction. Normal reaction, what is the direction of normal reaction? Normal reaction is always, okay, normal reaction is always perpendicular to the surface. Normal reaction is always acting perpendicular to the surface. So normal reactions will be there and the coefficient of frictions will be here. Mu is called the maximum value of mu. Okay, mu maximum value of mu is equal to 1. Normally the value of mu 0 less than or equal to mu less than or equal to 1, which means the value of mu is always in between 0 and 1. It is not greater than 1, but it's not less than 0 also. It is in between 0 and 1. Write down all these points. You can pause the video and you can note all these points. These are small points, and we'll enter into the most beautiful stuff of this one. So hope you have noted these stuffs. I am moving to the next area of this one. So these are some basic information, sir. What is called friction? What is a unit of frictions? Friction is a force. So unit of friction is always Newton, and you know the formula of force, F is equal to mu into N. N is called what? N is called normal reaction. Okay, so I am going to classify the friction. Frictions are not two types. Some textbook will say two types, but I am saying frictions are three types. Okay, I'll tell you. First one is called limiting friction. First one is called limiting friction. I am saying three types. Okay, why I am saying three types means you may understand little bit later. Next one is called static friction. Static friction. And the third one is called kinetic friction. Kinetic friction. So three types of frictions we are going to learn: a limiting friction, static friction, and kinetic friction. Okay. Okay, out of this, which one is the highest value? Limiting friction has the highest value, or static friction has the highest value, or kinetic friction has the highest value? I am giving these questions to you. If you know the answer, you can just tell me no. Else, I am not directly telling the answers. If I am telling the answers, you will get an idea. You will try to by heart it, but I don't want to do like that. Instead, I will take an example. With the help of example, I'll try to clarify the steps for you. Okay, so listen here. So let me take one example, and based on that example, I will try to explain. So first, I'm trying to explain all the concept in one shot. Okay, just I'm saying some examples. Suppose a body of mass m kilogram. Listen very carefully. This is an important concept. Definitely you will get one question from friction for NEET or JEE. Okay, there are high chances are there. You are giving a force, okay, let me consider this as a mass, for example, a 4 kilogram mass. Okay, 4 kilogram mass will be there. And this 4 kilogram mass is resting on a surface. And the coefficient of friction mu equal to 0.1 is given. I am pulling with a force of 10 Newton. Okay, I am asking you three set of questions. First question, what is the value of frictional force? What is the value of acceleration? Two things I want you have to find it out. What is the value of frictional force? What is the value of acceleration? Okay, I thought the question is very clear to you. 4 kilogram mass resting on a surface. We are applying a forces of 10 Newton. The surface is little bit roughness. That's what it is 0.1. If it is very rough, it become 1. If it is very smooth, mu equal to 0. So smooth surface means no friction. Sometimes in question you will say the surface is smooth. The surface is smooth means nothing. Okay, no friction, no frictions at all. So we are going to find out what is called frictional force value and what is called accelerations value. The first aim is we are just pulling the block in this directions with a force of 10 Newton. So of course I know the frictional force will act in this opposite direction. Okay, so frictional force will act in the opposite direction. The formula of frictional force equal to mu into n. What is n? N is called a normal reactions. So normal reaction is towards the surface. This is also called some contact force. And weight is also in the downward direction, which is called mg. No motion in this direction. So I can say n minus mg is equal to 0, or you will say n is equal to mg, because this is you are already seen many times. Okay, so first I will find this value mg. M means what? 4 into g means 40. So 4 into g means 40. So you will get a value called 40. Now we will substitute here. Mu is 0.1 into 40. Okay, so 0.1 with the 40 is 4 Newton. This is what is we are finding. Okay, so this is I am just giving you a mu equal to 1. I don't know whether it is a limiting friction or it is a static friction or it is a kinetic friction. Nothing. I just given you mu equal to 0.1. So, okay, we'll go forward on the run. After a few examples, you will understand what is the difference between them. Now it is 4 Newton, which means that what? 4 Newton force is acting. So what is called acceleration? Acceleration is equal to total force acting on the block. What is total force? Total force equal to, I will say this body will move in this direction. So forward, I mean we have a formula, sigma fx will be equal to ma. Body is moving, first acceleration. What is fx? Right side positive 10, left side negative. So how much? Minus 4 is equal to ma. Ma means 4 into a. So 6 by 4 is equal to a. So a will be equal to 3 by 2, which is equal to 1.5 meter per second square accelerations the block will move. Okay, so now we got the frictional force value 4 Newton and we got acceleration equal to 3 by 2, 0.5 meter per second square. Okay. Now, instead of doing this stuff, sir, I am doing some alteration for the question. Okay, so this is my example, first example. I understand that I am pulling a forces of 10 Newton, but the surface in contact with the block can give only an opposite forces of 4 Newton. 10 Newton is higher or 4 Newton is higher? 10 Newton is higher. 10 Newton is higher means block will move towards that side because this force is not sufficient. Poor man, only 4 Newton. Here 10 Newton, so block will move in that directions. But this is a very normal case. Now, suppose instead if I am doing this to be, just I am considering this to be 3 Newton. This to be 3 Newton. So what will happen? I calculated the frictional force, no changes. It is 4 Newton. But if I'm going to find out accelerations, there is no acceleration should not happen. Why? Because before you're going to find out acceleration, you have to check this forces. Earlier it is 10 Newton. That's why we are written 10 minus 4. Now it is not a 10 Newton. Now what is called a 3 Newton. So 3 Newton if I am pulling the body, which means it is not sufficient to pull the block. Why? Y means 4 Newton opposite forces will be there. In that case, this is the maximum value. Listen very carefully, the terms I am using. This is a maximum value of the frictional force this surface can apply on the body. Then this coefficient of friction is called static coefficient of friction. Why it is static? Because this mu s, if you substituted here mu s 0.1, earlier it is just generally I have taken mu, now it is mu s. Why it is called mu s means you will get a value of 4 Newton. 4 Newton is greater than 3 Newton. So block cannot move forward. Then you have a question, block can move backward, right? You have that doubt you have. But here block cannot move forward. Block cannot move forward means this value of friction is called a limiting friction. Limiting. It is limiting the movement. So if you are asking me what is the value of limiting frictions will be here, I will say 4 Newton. So limiting friction is equal, this is an important formula. Limiting friction is equal to mu s into n. Okay. Now, so limiting frictions, now you understand, if limiting friction is a maximum value of the friction in which the surface can offer. The surface can offer a value of maximum 4 Newton, because of that one the block cannot move, that is called the limiting friction. Then what is called static friction? Static friction is also there. So Fs equal to Fs in the formula, it is not mu s, it is actually mu s into n, but what is static friction is like, if the limiting friction, listen my word very carefully, if the limiting friction is much higher than that of my applied forces, I am sure that the block will not move right side. Then what is the static friction? Static friction is a kind of friction which will adjust or opposite the moment. So now I am very sure that I am applying a forces of 3 Newton, but opposite frictional force will be equal to 4 Newton, but practically the block will move. No, block will not move backward, because I am pulling, see this is a duster, I am pulling with a small force, it is not moving. Is it moving backward? Which means that the frictional force is higher? No, the frictional force is actually adjusting. If I am giving large force, it is moving. If I am giving large force, it is moving. If I am giving a small force, it is not moving. If I am giving a small force, it is not moving. But if I am giving large force, it is moving. So actually static friction is equal to the applied force value 3 Newton. Because 4 is the maximum friction in which the surface can offer. Surface can give maximum 4 Newton force, but here surface don't want to give extra 4 Newton. It is very waste, right? In order to keep the block hold or in rest position, instead of 4, how much is required? Only 3 Newton is required, because right side 3, left side 3. So total force equal to 0, acceleration is equal to 0. Why should I want to extra waste to 1 Newton extra? It is not required, right? So this 3 Newton is called static friction. Static friction is not the highest value. Limiting friction is the maximum offerable highest value. So out of that limiting frictions, only static friction value is required to hold the body if the limiting friction is higher. So static friction, understand. Limiting friction, understand. So out of static friction or limiting friction, which one is higher? Now you have the answer, which is called limiting friction. Limiting friction is the maximum value in which a surface can offer. But static friction is just opposes the moment adjusted with applied forces. It will adjust with if applied force is 3, it will adjust it to 3. If the applied force is equal to 2 Newton, it will adjust it to 2 Newton. That's all. So it will adjust it. So Fs can be adjusted. So now 3 Newton Fs force. Now what is called kinetic friction? Kinetic friction means, suppose in the previous example, now I am going one step back again. In the previous example, what we have seen will be here it is 10 Newton, here it is we have our frictional force value 4 Newton, and we got acceleration equal to 10 minus 4 divided by 4, 6 by 4, we have written 3 by 2, which is equal to 1.5 meter per second square. We have written this one, right? This means that for what for us, this force 10 Newton is sufficient to move the block forward. So whenever there is a motions are happening, the value of friction is not static, not limiting. This is called kinetic friction value. Okay, so actually in this cases, whatever I am going to find out is called a kinetic frictions value. Okay, so if question is not specifying, question may be specified two things, mu s or mu k. From the mu s I can find out limiting friction. From the mu s, after I get limiting friction, I can decide the value of Fs. But how should I know whether it is mu k? Mu k means first I will blindly take it and I will see whether the block is possible to move. If the block is possible to move with a certain amount of acceleration, then I will say, hey, this is not static, this is purely a kinetic friction. This is purely a kinetic friction. It is possible to move and it is possible to decide. Okay, so now you got the kinetic frictions. So kinetic frictions value is always a lesser value. Limiting friction is the highest value. Static friction is in a middle value. Okay, so the highest value out of this limiting friction, static friction, kinetic friction means if I am getting the value of acceleration, then I will say my kinetic frictions will be equal to 4 Newton. Whenever motion is possible, then kinetic friction is there. Whenever motion is not possible, the kinetic friction is not there. Okay, so whenever in certain questions, if mu s or mu k or some values will be given, you have to find it out what you need to apply, and you have to take that value and to substitute. We will see one more example so that it will be very clear to you. Okay, so I know limiting frictions will have the highest value, and then static frictions, and then kinetic frictions. Everything should not have the highest value, right? We'll see one example. I may take this example. Suppose I have a 4 kg mass, not 4 kg. Let me take another one. I have a 3 kg mass. This will be equal to frictional force 0.2, and I'm applying a forces of 10 Newton. Then the question is asking, okay, so I'm writing mu s equal to 0.2 and mu k will be equal to 0.1. Then the question is asking what is the value of frictional force generally and what is the value of acceleration. So our first aim in this kind of question is, first we have to identify the maximum value of friction. So I'm going to find out limiting friction value. Limiting friction will be equal to mu s into n. What is a mu s? What is the limiting frictions value? Mu s. What is the mu s value? 0.2. Normal reaction is n equal to mg. So it is called 3g. So 0.2 into 30, which is equal to how much? 6 Newton. So now I know I am actually getting limiting friction, not the static friction. So limiting friction's value is equal to 6 Newton. Okay, now I know 6 Newton is greater than that of 10 Newton. So I just decided the limiting frictions. I know because of this frictional force, the block can easily move. Now based on the present condition, 6 Newton will be there, 10 Newton will be there. So my friction, my limiting friction, maximum frictional force the surface can afford is 6 Newton, but the 6 Newton is not acting here. Why? Because the block is already started to move. So this is not the frictional force will be here. So this is an analysis I have made. What is the total force acting during the situation? In this situation, the surface can offer maximum 6 Newton, but 6 Newtons will never applied will be here because the block is not in rest positions. I know because of 6 Newton, 10 Newton, this is a higher value, block will move. So this is an analysis I have made. From this analysis I understand what is that? FL is not acting. FL is not acting. What is the reasons? Because F applied greater than the limiting friction. Whenever the applied forces are greater than limiting frictions, we are not in limiting friction, we are not in static friction. Now we are where? We are in kinetic friction. So we are going to find out kinetic friction's value, which is equal to mu k into n. What is the value of mu k? That is 0.1 into normal reaction is 30. Already we have written 30, so we got it as 3. Now this is a 3 Newton which is acting will be here. So the questions to my answer for the frictional force will equal to 3 Newton, not 6 Newton. Okay, now we are going to find out the value of acceleration. Acceleration is equal to total force divided by mass. What is the total force? 10 right side, 3 left side. So 10 minus 3 whole divided by mass of the body is 3, which means 7.3 meter per second square is the answer. Okay, so why I have done this limiting frictions will be here. I can directly go and find out kinetic friction, right? I cannot do that. I cannot do that because why? Because I don't know that 10 Newton is sufficient to move the block or not. After applying the limiting frictions value, I get to know only 6 Newton the surface can offer. That is not sufficient because 10 Newton is very higher, block will easily move. Same problem I will do it in another way. So I got frictional force equal to 3 Newton, acceleration equal to 7/3 meter per second square. Same problem I am going to do in another way. This is I am considering as 5 Newton force. Then I am asking what is the value of acceleration and what is the value of frictional force. Everything I am asking to you. Same questions I am asking, what is the value of frictional force, what is the value of accelerations. Now here it is given mu s will be equal to 0.2 and mu k will be equal to 0.1. Two values will be given. I don't know what is the frictional force value. I'm going to find out. First I will find limiting friction mu s into n. Limiting friction mu s 0.2 n is equal to mg, and which is equal to 0.2 into 30, which is equal to 6 Newton. So I know 6 Newton is acting in opposite direction. So 6 Newton is greater than 5 Newton. The surface can offer 6 Newton force, but body is telling, hey, I don't need 6 Newton, I need how much? Only 5 Newton. Then it will adjust, it will never move. So the value of the frictional force will be here is equal to 5 Newton, not 6 Newton. 6 Newton is the maximum capability of the surface I am finding. So 5 Newton is enough. Why I am giving 6 Newton and wasting 1 Newton, valuable 1 Newton force? Not waste. Only 5 Newton is enough. So 5 and 5 total force will be equal to 0. Right side force minus left side force. So acceleration is equal to 5 minus 5 divided by mass. Answer is 0 meter per second square. Cancel, going out. Tap. Finished. Gone. So acceleration is equal to 0 meter per second square and frictional force will be equal to 5 Newton. Okay, so frictional force value either is equal to a static friction value, either is equal to a kinetic frictions value. To find out whether I need static friction, whether I need kinetic friction, my first level is to find out the limiting friction. So from the limiting frictions, if I understand the block is moving, then I will take the kinetic frictions and I will apply this value and I will find the frictional force value. If I am understanding limiting friction is higher than, in this case, limiting friction 6 Newton, which is higher than the backward force, 6 Newton is greater than 5 Newton. So then the opposite forces is not 6 Newton, it is just 5 Newton. 5 Newton is called static friction. So here I am finding the static frictional force value because block is not moving, so acceleration is equal to 0. Hope you understand the concept, what is the difference between limiting friction, static frictions and kinetic frictions. Okay, finally we'll plot a graph for this one also. Okay, so just we'll plot one graph. So you can just write a graph, you can just write a heading called graph. We'll understand the concept. This is we are applying in problems only. So we are just drawing one graph for this. Okay, we'll draw one graph. So this is a frictional force value, this is an applied force, and this is a frictional force. Okay, frictional force. So earlier the block is not moving and maximum reaching and going like this one, which means that what? This is block, this is a static friction. Okay, this is a static friction. Maximum value of static friction, this is a maximum frictional force, and this is called what? Limiting friction. Once the limiting frictions are over, it will move to what frictions called? Kinetic friction. Kinetic friction. Okay, so three things will be there: static frictions, limiting frictions and kinetic frictions. From this plot itself, if you are marking one point will be here, you can understand static friction is second position, limiting friction is a maximum position, kinetic friction is a less positions. So I can say limiting frictional force greater than static frictional force greater than kinetic frictional force. It may equal also, but in general I am saying limiting frictions value greater than static frictional value greater than kinetic frictions value will be there. So this is a plot for the frictional force with the F applied forces. Okay, so hope you understand the concept very clearly. We have to do some questions so that will be understood. So based on the example, I am summarizing what we have learned today. Okay, So what we have learned today, limiting friction, highest value, we will find what is the surface is maximum offering it, that is called limiting. Static frictions, after we find the limiting frictions, we will understand the block will move or not. If the block is moving, we will switch it to kinetic frictions. Then kinetic frictional value is a force which is acting on the surface. So kinetic friction value is the frictional force value. If you understand limiting friction value higher, applied force is lesser, block will never going to move, acceleration is equal to 0. But what is the frictional force value in that case? Frictional force will adjust with applied. So applied force value will be equal to the static frictional force value. So static frictional value is equal to applied force value when limiting frictions are higher than applied force value. Other way around, again, if applied forces are higher than the limiting friction value, then we have to find out the kinetic friction value. So normally the coefficient of kinetic friction is mu k and the static friction is mu s. If not specified in the question, it is given as mu. Mu means you can take it mu, you can find the limiting frictions, then you will see whether it is higher or lesser. Most of the cases it will be lesser, so accelerations will be here. So then that is a value for there. Okay, so hope you understood the concepts, whatever it is. If I'm just repeating two sentences which should be there on your mind. First point, if limiting friction is less than applied force, block will move. Frictional force value equal to limiting friction value and accelerations will be there. Second point, if limiting friction value is higher than applied force, block will never move. Frictional force value is called static frictional force and that value is equal to applied value. Acceleration is equal to 0. Hope you understood the concept. I will come up with certain questions to you to understand the concept in the coming topics area.